Hello, welcome to the Reframing Mindset podcast. We are clear my head of the thoughts that are preventing clarity, practice my speech, among other things. Episodes range from informative knowledge to funny stories about my experiences, and in the future, maybe include interviews. So subscribe and enjoy. Episodes drop every other day.
Okay, so now welcome back to Reframe Mindset Podcast. My name is Carlos Brooks, and this episode is going to be about my last party experience. Yeah. So as we may know, we're in the middle of this pandemic and thing, and my last party experience come way back in 2018 or 2019. 2019 was my last part around that. And it was due to two reasons. One was due to the coronavirus pandemic that came in when I was about to go to my what would be the last party if I actually went there and yeah, before the pandemic. And then the second reason was due to me outgrowing party, you know. And it due to me actually going to that party made me realize how much I've kind of outgrown the party. Yeah, so let us get into the story. So around this time now, I would have graduated university and actually trying to look at work, trying to get a job or something like that. And I was failing. I had no clue how to get it. Or try to send out resume using this online thing, but the requirements were weird, which is and it's still weird now. There are some weird qualifications that I could not meet. There are some places, and some of the places they were like, is the reason why the requirements is so weird is that it's it's a specific certification that you would have to pay to basically go do it at a place, do it at a school or something like that to get that certification to apply for the job. So me graduating with a degree in biochemistry seemed null and void in the world. It's like my degree never wasn't applicable anywhere with how weird it would it would how weird the job requirements be. It would be like, oh, you need accreditation from this smaller uh, institution. I'm like, what? So it was a pretty weird and very demotivating experience and thing, and I generally had no clue what I what was the plan. I had no clue what was the plan. So boom, it was around coming around October, and around October, the party that usually gets um, go on around that time was the party that my hall that I lived on put on called Masquerade. So the time was coming around, and I had little money, and then my plan was, because I had a friend that lived in Kingston that was renting a place, and they said they had an extra place. So the plan was maybe go down there and then for the month or so. And the plan was to basically just go to Kingston for some places. Because Kingston is a place where I have a lot of the businesses. And if I can just go to one of the places and see where I can get a job, if me being in the capital, in the area, I can actually walk in because what I was doing previously was looking online for places that were hiring and then sending an email or using the online platform to send the resume from there. So the plan was basically if I'm there, I can just actually go there directly and check, you know. But so when I was going there now, when I was saying I was going there now, one of my family member came and said, "Oh, why are you going to Kingston to rent and stuff like that?" And I was just explaining it to him, and I actually get kind of depressed, talking to him, auntie, because it was a really depressing time to know that you come out of university and no matter it's like a loss. You have no clue what to apply for and how to apply for. And it's weird now. It's 2021, almost 2022, and I still don't know. And it's still this applying for a job and resume what they're looking for is still a mystery. And it's one of the yeah, it's what kind of makes Jamaica what it is now. That mystery to apply. Mm, simply that, I think. So after explaining to him and thing, and he, he said the compromise because it was one of my cousin I was learning programming through him and stuff like that. And he said, okay, just go for a week, and if you don't feel like it makes sense to come back or stuff like that. And then I said, okay, and the reason was because from when I left the university and came back home, I never really went nowhere. So it, when I was on university on the campus, I usually walk about or can go to like the congregation area and see people and stuff like that and all kind of things. And then I went home and I barely left the house. I never really have anywhere to go and stuff like that. So it was a really big change. And that was one of the things that kind of add to the depression. Just the fact that I never really had anywhere to really go and stuff like that. So, okay, now I went down today. So I'm going down to the place where my friend said he was renting. So I pack up something, pack up some things, and I packed up a lot. It was a relatively compared to when I went on the university, it's smaller than that. It was just one suitcase, but it was a big suitcase with all the things like pots and pan and all these things. Because I was going there to rent and stay. And the plan was to stay a while. The plan was in my head was to stay a month, not what the because I would actually stay a week, you know. Mhm. So I'll get the direction from a friend when I went to Kingston actually trying to go to the area now. I took the drive. When I reached Kingston I tried to take the drive to go to the area now actually took the drive and went to the I get a wrong I went to the wrong place. And I end up when I reach a certain point, I asked the person if I was actually going to the area and he said no, I was on the wrong road. And I end up have to come off and I was lost. And lucky enough there was a woman there that I explained to her that hey, I wanted to go this area and then she helped me. She helped me carry the suitcase and stuff and walk to another through some bushes and go to the other road and then took get a drive a man to like kind of charter me because it wasn't really far. It wasn't really far off. It's just that I had to take another taxi to go to the area. So she helped me do that, which was one of those good Samaritan that came in the clutch. And I end up at the place. So boom. I'm at the place now, and this place is kind of really bad area. Mm. And the second thing about it is that it's far from UWI. So I had to walk a good distance from there to actually go to UA. And then a lot of drive never really go come come there, you know. So like every day now until the Friday. So the it was it the Friday, either the Friday or the Thursday was the masquerade. And I think it was a Thursday. But every day now I would actually go into Kingston, downtown Kingston, and actually um go and look at places I could apply to for a job and just write it down. And so I have it in mind and stuff like that. And the place that I actually rented never had any internet. So that was a big L. You know, it was a cheap place to rent, and that was kind of one of the reasons why I think it was cheap and no internet. And it was a really bad place. It wasn't a place that I would actually recommend to rent or stuff like that. It was not. It was very bad, you know. And the only thing about it, it was cheap. And I think the reason why it was cheap was due to the area and the room itself. It was really bad, and I never actually even cooked there. Actually, only eat. I went and buy KFC and food and stuff like that every day. So I never actually really cooked that week. That week that I went. So um, so I was doing that every day now, and then boom, I bought the ticket for to go to masquerade. And my friend now was saying, yeah, he was going to masquerade as well, but due to some reason now, he never actually went get to go because he never had any money to buy a ticket, you know. Somebody must have owed him money or something like that. You know. So boom, it was so basically it was me alone at the party. And because I actually left the university by the time I graduated. And things, so when I went back to the university, I was kind of like a stranger, and I have maybe few people that would have known me that were on press the dorm at the time. You know, so it was they would have known me, but otherwise, sometimes I would basically I graduate, you know, going there. So that was kind of the first thing. Was kind of made it weird. Mm. And so I was in the party and thing, and then I never really have that much money. So if one of the things that I usually do when I actually went to party like that was usually use drink strategically. So that just buy like a cup of liquor, which should around be around $300. I never really, and I usually would have walked going to party with either like $1,000 or 1,500 or 2,000, depending on how financially stable I was at the time. But this time I only have like 1,000, so that's around 3 cups. So I usually just drink by like a cup and then just drink it real quick to just get the effects. And when I in the sort of drunken state, my dancing gets a little better, because I'm not really insecure about the dancing and stuff like that. So, but actually, it never really worked, because I was never really into the party. I never feel the vibes of the party. I felt like an old person. You will get on in this kind of like in this young person space. That was how I feel through the party, and I was dancing and one or two girls and something like that. But actually, I eventually stopped in the middle of the party, like around 12 o'clock or something like that. You just see me just standing up in the party doing nothing, and then not only that, there was some other person that graduated my year as well that I saw in the party, and they were having fun and stuff like that, you know. But me, I felt out of place and thing, and it was really weird, really, really weird. So after the party finished, I actually said, okay, Oh, one of the other thing is masquerade was it's a water party, so it was you have sprinklers and then you have um people have a hose that was spraying water and stuff like that. And all of the party was me just trying to dodge the water because I was living off campus, I wasn't living on campus. So I had to take taxis to go home and I could just take the taxi wet, you know. So that was one of the other things that made the party experience really, really bad. Really, really bad. So boom. After the party finished now, I basically was had to call um, the equivalent of Uber in your language, which would be on time. So I called it on time now, and then as I said, if it, remember as I said, it was a bad area I live in. So when I tell the person the area I was going to, man's like, "Mama," and it was late. It was around 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and the man's like, "Yo, really got this place in this night. Now. I usually do this stuff and stuff like that." And then, but I called him and he said, "Yo, you have to do it." So he actually take not the unnatural, a different route than the one that you would take in the day and stuff like that. It was kind of like this back road route, but the thing about that route, which the person kind of never remembered, was that route was blocked off, was closed off at night by the police. So we were driving the night and things like that. All of a sudden we hear the police come and stop the car. And he had to come out and actually talk to the police and tell them what going on and stuff like that. And I was like, yo, I was nervous tonight. I was nervous. I'm like, wow, bro. All of this because I decided to come to a party. It was nerve wracking the night. And then after talking for a while, the man actually came in and he tell me what the police actually asked him and stuff like that. And the man's like, kind of like cursing me and stuff like that. And it's like, yo, this is all because I decided to carry you to the area. And it's like, I feel it, man. I feel it. But he actually went and carried me home and I paid him, went to my bed. When I reached home safely, that was basically the wake up call to say, yo, I'm going home, not the place for me. And you know, and I that was the moment when I actually realized that I actually outgrew my university. I was looking for something else. The party days wasn't. I was never really a partier, but leaving and actually going to a party, it actually kind of showed me that yeah, I kind of outgrew it. You know, and from then I was looking for something else more fulfilling. But the pandemic came and all those things kind of messed up that plan. So actually, and during that trying to find the new thing was how I end up start making podcasts what I'm doing now. Mhm. So there was one last thing I wanted to say in regards to the party, which was after that night, basically the next day actually I actually went home. I told the person that the landlord that okay, how much it costs for me to rent the place for a week. It was basically a week. It was basically around 15,000 for the month. Uh, And then the first week I told him I was going home. So I was to them I was just going to pay for that and done. And then he told me 5,000 and I actually just paid that and then no leaving. And then um it was I don't think I actually left the I don't think I actually left the exact next day because I left on a Sunday. And how I actually had to leave was I had to walk up to UA again and then charter a taxi to come pick me up at Tavern in the area, and then actually carry me down to the bus stop to take the bus to come to Mobi and then come home. So when I actually tell the taxi the area and all, the man's like, he was glad that I actually was chartering him because there was a lot of people actually going downtown on a Sunday. But when he heard here, he was like, oh, it was like, do I really have to go there? But he actually eventually went there, and then when he reversed in, he was afraid. He was pretty afraid of the area. So he was telling me to hurry up and go for the stuff and come in and stuff like that. Actually hurry up and actually went for the stuff, and then boom, went in, and then he drive off and carry me to the bus stop and stuff like that. So that experience to me kind of showed me that it was a pretty, it was like a big sign, to show me that and I outgrew this. If you get what I mean, and it was it took a really but sequence of terrible events to show me that mm-mm. And also that experience kind of made me approach life the way I approach it now, because I never wanted to go back to Kingston and rent a place because for one, their place is not, when I used to a certain lifestyle and living style, and then you have to live a worse lifestyle. That that's what it's like to actually go and rent a place in Kingston. It's a really bad lifestyle. The rooms are not really big and it's not really the best. So that was one of the reasons why I take this approach where I'm staying with my family and accumulating money to actually see if I can actually do something to get a better place or and can command a better income and find a suitable place for me to live. And so far it has been going this route has been would be in my mind has been significantly better than me actually going to Kingston and renting a really bad place that I would really like and stuff like that. So yeah. So to me, so this was a pretty average episode, average episode to me, but it came in my head. So actually decided, yeah, it makes sense. I record it. Mhm. So thank you for listening. I look forward for the next episode.
Well, this is the end of the episode. Thanks for watching and look forward for the next episode. To support this podcast, go to anchor.fm/cssb/support or become a sponsor for this episode. If you have a product that you want to have more exposure, DM me on the Instagram page, Reframing Mindset Podcast, or on Twitter at ReframingP. Either way would help. Thank you regardless for listening, and here's a preview for the next episode.
Promote your religion and stuff like that. It's a weird dilemma. But I can say that God is real and God has been helping me in this what has been this new phase out of school, the real world. Mm. Yeah, so and I think this episode will kind of show you how real God is, how real. Yeah, so boom, I'm at this new place now, and the problem that I have, well, is the bathroom door. So the bathroom door doesn't is not the knob hasn't is broken. It doesn't have a place where you can put in a key to lock it or something to turn it to lock the door. So